Captain Junho stood on the bridge of his ship and looked out at the empty space where Earth used to be. The silent wing moved slowly through the dark void filled with rocks and metal pieces that were all that remained of humanity's homeworld. His hands gripped the metal railing as he stared at the debris field that stretched for millions of miles in every direction. The ship had been traveling through this dead solar system for 3 months now. His crew of 25 scientists and soldiers have been studying every piece of floating rock and twisted metal they could find. The Galactic Council had sent them here to finish the final survey of what the history books called the Great Consumption Event. 100,000 years ago, the Devourers had come to this system and eaten every living thing, including the planet. Earth itself. Junho had read all the reports before coming here. The Devourers were a race of creatures that moved from star to star, consuming entire worlds. And everything on them. They would arrive in massive swarms, strip a planet down to its core, and then move on to the next system. The attack on Earth had been particularly brutal according to the records. The humans had fought back harder than most species, but in the end they had all died, just like everyone else the Devourers encountered. The bridge was quiet except for the soft humming of the ship's engines and the occasional beep from the control panels. Most of his crew was either sleeping or working in the lower decks analyzing the samples they had collected. Junho liked these quiet moments when he could think about what they had found. So far the debris field was strange in many ways. The metal fragments were made from materials that the galaxy had never seen before. Some of the technology they discovered was more advanced than anything current civilizations could build. The humans had been more clever than anyone had given them credit for, but that made their destruction even more tragic. If they had been this smart, why had they not escaped? Communications officer Hana was working at her station near the back of the bridge. She had been trying to map all the radio signals in the system for weeks. Most of it was just background noise from the star and random electromagnetic bursts from the debris. But today something was different. Hana looked up from her screens with a confused expression on her face. Captain, she said, I'm picking up something very strange. Junho walked over to her station. What kind of strange? There is a signal coming from the asteroid belt, she said, pointing to her display. It is very faint, but it is definitely artificial. Show me. Junho said. Hana pressed several buttons and the main screen on the bridge lit up with a map of the local area. A small red dot was blinking in the middle of the asteroid belt about 2 million miles away from their current position. The signal is repeating every 37 seconds, she said. It is broadcasting on a frequency that should not exist anymore. What do you mean? Junho asked. The frequency is one that the old human communication systems used to employ, she explained. But those systems have been dead for 100,000 years. There should be nothing left that can broadcast on that frequency. Junho felt a chill run down his spine. Can you decode the signal? Hana worked at her controls for several minutes. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard as she ran the signal through different translation programs. Finally, she stopped and looked up at the captain with wide eyes. I got it, she said, but her voice was shaking. What does it say? Hana turned to look at the main screen where the decoded message appeared in large letters. One word repeated over and over again. Are you on the bridge? Fell completely silent. Junho stared at the screen, feeling his heart beat faster in his chest. A human voice had been saying the word run for 100,000 years in the empty space where Earth used to be. Are you sure about this? Junho asked. Hana nodded. I checked it 5 times. The voice is human and it is speaking in perfect standard galactic language. The signal has been broadcasting continuously for exactly 100,000 years. Junho called for his senior officers to come to the bridge. Within minutes, Science Officer Kyung, Chief Engineer Dongmin, and Security Chief Sujin had arrived. When they saw the message on the screen, their faces went pale. This is impossible, Kyung said. The Devourers consumed everything in this system. There should be no human technology left working. Maybe it is a trap, Sujin suggested. Her hand moved to the weapon at her side. Junho studied the display showing the location of the signal. It was coming from deep inside the asteroid belt in an area they had not explored yet. According to their maps, there was nothing there but rocks and ice. Scanned the source of the signal. Junho ordered. Dongmin worked at the sensor controls for several minutes. Captain, he said, I am reading something very unusual. The signal is coming from inside a large asteroid, but our scans show that the asteroid is not natural. What? Do you mean not natural? Junho asked. The asteroid appears to be hollow on the inside, and there are metal structures throughout it. It looks like some kind of facility. Junho felt his mouth go dry. A human facility that had been hidden for 100,000 years, broadcasting a warning to anyone who might find it. The asteroid is not on any of our charts, Dongmin continued. It is almost like it was designed to be invisible to normal scans. We need to investigate. Junho said, Captain, that might not be wise. Kyung warned, if the humans built a facility that has been hidden for 100,000 years, there might be a good reason why it was hidden. Junho looked at his officers and then back at the screen where the word run continued to flash. He thought about all the strange human technology they had found in the debris field and all the questions that had no answer. Set course for the asteroid, he ordered. The silent wing turned and began moving toward the mysterious signal. The crew prepared their equipment and weapons, not knowing what they would find. The human voice continued to broadcast its warning into the empty space, telling everyone who could hear it to run, but Captain Junho had decided that running was not an option. They were going to find out what the humans had left behind and why. They had been warning the galaxy to stay away for 100,000 years. As the ship moved closer to the asteroid, the signal grew stronger and clearer. The voice was definitely human, and it sounded urgent, like someone who knew that terrible danger was coming. Soon they would discover what that danger was and why humanity had tried to warn them all. The asteroid grew larger on the main screen as the silent wing approached it. Captain Junho watched his crew work at their stations, preparing for what they might find inside the mysterious object. Chief Engineer Dongmin had his scanning equipment ready, while Security Chief Sujin checked her weapons for the third time. The asteroid was massive, much bigger than it had appeared from a distance. It was dark gray and covered with what looked like natural rock formations, but their deep scans revealed the truth underneath. The entire thing was hollow and filled with metal structures that had been built using technology the galaxy had never seen before. Captain, we are close enough to dock, Dongmin reported. There appears to be a docking bay hidden on the dark side of the asteroid. Junho nodded. Take us in. Slowly the silent wing moved around the asteroid until they found the docking bay. It was concealed behind what looked like a natural rock formation, but as they approached, the rock slid apart, revealing a massive opening that was easily big enough for their ship. The inside was lit with soft blue lights that had been glowing for 100,000 years. This is incredible, Dongmin whispered as they docked. The power systems are still fully operational and the artificial gravity is working perfectly. Junho selected his boarding party. Dongmin would lead the technical investigation while Sujin would handle security. Science Officer Kyung would study any data they found, and Communications Officer Hana would monitor their progress from the ship. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, revealing a corridor that stretched into the distance. The walls were made of smooth metal that gleamed under the artificial lights. Everything was clean and perfectly maintained, as if the facility had been built yesterday instead of 100,000 years ago. My God, Kyung said as they walked down the corridor. This place is huge. The corridors branched off in multiple directions, leading to different sections of the facility. They passed rooms filled with equipment they could not identify, and laboratories with experiments that were still running after all these years. The artificial intelligence systems were so advanced that they had maintained everything without any human supervision. Dongmin stopped at a computer terminal and began trying to access the systems. After a few minutes, he managed to get into the basic functions. The screen lit up with text written in ancient human language, but the translation system could convert it to standard galactic. Welcome to Last Hope Station, the computer said in a pleasant female voice. I am the facility management system. How may I assist you? Sujin raised her weapon, but Junho motioned for her to lower it. I did not seem hostile, just curious about their presence. What is this place? Junho asked. Last Hope Station is a research and manufacturing facility built by the United Human Defense Command. The AI replied, we were constructed to preserve human knowledge and technology for future generations. When was this facility built? Kyung asked. Construction began 73 years before the Great War and was completed just 6 months before the Devourer invasion, the AI explained. The team exchanged glances. The humans had known the Devourers were coming and had built this place to survive the attack. Can you show us the facility records? Dongmin asked. Of course, the AI said. Follow me, please. The AI guided them through the facility, showing them room after room of incredible technology. There were laboratories where human scientists had worked on weapons that could destroy entire fleets, manufacturing centers that could build spaceships from raw materials, and vast computer systems that contained all of human knowledge and culture. In one section, they found something that made them stop and stare. Thousands of stasis pods lined the walls, most of them empty, but some still containing the sleeping forms of humans who had been in suspended animation for 100,000 years. These are the volunteers, the AI explained. They chose to remain here and guard the facility while the rest of humanity evacuated to safer locations. Evacuated? Junho asked, but the records say all humans died in the Devourer attack. The AI paused for a moment, as if considering how much to reveal. That is what we wanted the galaxy to believe. Many humans did die fighting the Devourers, but thousands of others were secretly moved to hidden colonies throughout the galaxy. Sujin could not believe what she was hearing. You mean humans are still alive somewhere out there? The AI nodded. Yes. They are growing stronger with each generation and waiting for the right time to reveal themselves to the galaxy again. Kyung was examining one of the computer terminals when she made another shocking discovery. Captain, you need to see this. She had found detailed records of the Devourer invasion, but these were not the records of victims. These were tactical reports written by human military commanders who had studied the Devourers for decades before the attack. The humans had known exactly what was coming and had prepared for total war. The records showed that humanity had put up a much fiercer fight than anyone had realized. They had built secret weapons and hidden bases throughout their territory. Some of the battles had lasted for years, with humans using guerrilla tactics to slow down the Devourer advance. But the most shocking discovery was a star chart that showed the locations of dozens of other facilities like this, one scattered throughout the galaxy. Each one was marked as active and operational. How many facilities like this exist? Junho asked the AI. 47 facilities were completed before the invasion, the AI replied. All of them are still operational and in contact with each other. Dongmin was studying the manufacturing equipment when he realized what it was designed to produce. These machines can build weapons, Captain, very advanced weapons. The AI confirmed his suspicions. Yes, we have been manufacturing defense systems for 100,000 years, preparing for the day when humanity would need them again. What kind of weapons? Sujin asked. The AI showed them holographic displays of ships and weapons that were beyond anything the current galaxy possessed. There were battleships the size of small moons and weapons that could destroy entire star systems. The technology was so advanced it seemed almost like magic. Why have you been hiding all this time? Junho asked. The AI was quiet for a long moment before answering. Because we were waiting for the right moment, Captain. The Devourers are not gone, they are only sleeping. And they will return soon. When they do, humanity will be ready. The boarding party spent hours exploring the facility and learning about the incredible preparations humanity had made. They found archives containing the personal stories of billions of humans who had died fighting the Devourers and detailed plans for the reconstruction of human civilization. As they prepared to return to their ship, the AI gave them one final piece of information. The signal you detected was not meant to warn you away from this facility. It was meant to warn you about what is coming. The Devourers will awaken soon, and when they do, they will be hungry. Junho looked at his team and realized that everything they thought they knew about the Devourer invasion was wrong. Humanity had not been helpless victims. They had been preparing for war, and now, after 100,000 years of planning, they were almost ready to fight back. The question was whether the rest of the galaxy would be ready to stand with them. The main chamber of Last Hope Station was enormous, with a curved ceiling that stretched high above their heads. Captain Junho and his team stood in the center of the room, surrounded by holographic displays that showed star charts and data streams from across the galaxy. The AI had brought them here to reveal the final secrets of humanity's survival. Without warning, the room filled with light and a figure appeared before them. It was a tall human man in a military uniform with kind eyes and A determined expression, the hologram was so realistic that for a moment they thought a living person had entered the room. "I am Admiral Sungmin," the figure said in a strong, clear voice. "I was the commander of the Human Defense Network and the architect of our species survival plan. If you are seeing this message, then Last Hope Station has been discovered, and our long wait is nearly over." Junho stepped forward, even though he knew the hologram could not see him. The Admiral continued speaking as if he had been waiting 100,000 years to tell this story. "The Devourers came to our galaxy believing they would find easy prey like they had in so many other places, but humanity is different. We do not surrender and we do not forgive. We knew they were coming decades before they arrived, and we used that time to prepare for the greatest war in galactic history." The hologram gestured, and the displays around the room changed to show images of human colonies and military bases being built in secret locations throughout the galaxy. "We could not save Earth," the Admiral said with sadness in his voice. "The Devourers were too strong and too many, but we could save our people and our knowledge. We evacuated millions of humans to hidden colonies and systems the Devourers would never find." Tactical officer Jin'e had joined the boarding party, and she was studying the displays with amazement. "Captain, these colonies are everywhere," she said. "There are human settlements in over 200 star systems, and most of them are in places we thought were uninhabited." The Admiral's hologram continued his explanation. "The volunteers who stayed behind to fight the Devourers knew they were sacrificing their lives, but they also knew their sacrifice would give humanity time to prepare. Our manufacturing facilities have been working for 100,000 years, building the weapons and ships we will need for our return." Dongmin was examining the production records on a nearby terminal. "Captain, according to these logs, this facility alone has built over 50,000 warships, and they are all hidden in deep space, waiting for orders." The hologram of Admiral Sungmin turned to face them directly, as if he could see them standing there. "The Devourers believe they destroyed humanity, but they only made us stronger. We have spent 100,000 years learning about them, studying their weaknesses, and preparing for our revenge." Pilot Wu Jin had been quietly studying the star charts when he made a discovery that made his blood run cold. "Captain, look at this." The chart showed the current positions of Devourer swarms throughout the galaxy. Most people believed the Devourers had left after consuming Earth, but the human data showed they were still out there, hiding in the dark spaces between stars. "They never left," Wu Jin said. "They are in hibernation, waiting for their next feeding cycle." AI confirmed what Wu Jin had discovered. The Devourers consume entire galaxies over periods of millions of years. It said after they finish with one area, they sleep for thousands of years while their numbers grow. Then they wake up and begin feeding again. "According to our calculations, the next feeding cycle will begin in less than 10 years, the AI continued. "When it does, the Devourers will emerge from hibernation and begin consuming worlds again, starting with the most populated systems." Junho felt a chill run through him. The entire galaxy was in danger, and nobody knew it, except for the humans who had been preparing for this moment for 100,000 years. The hologram of Admiral Sungmin began speaking again. "Our hidden colonies have grown strong over the millennia," he said. "Each generation has been trained in warfare and prepared for the day when humanity would reveal itself again. We have technologies that can destroy entire Devourer fleets and weapons that can crack planets in half, but we cannot do this alone." The Admiral continued. "We need the other species of the galaxy to stand with us. The Devourers are stronger than they were before, and they will be hungry after their long sleep." The AI began showing them more data about the human colonies and their capabilities. There were massive orbital shipyards building vessels that dwarfed anything in the current galactic fleet, underground cities that could house millions of people, and research stations that had developed weapons using principles the galaxy had never seen. The most shocking revelation came when the AI showed them the command structure of the human resistance. Every major decision was made by a council of AI systems that contained the memories and personalities of humanity's greatest leaders. These artificial minds had been guiding human development for 100,000 years. Dr. Yanwu, the team historian, had been studying the cultural records when she made another important discovery. "The humans did not just preserve their military technology," she said. "They kept their art, their music, their literature, and their philosophy." Everything that made them human has been protected and passed down through the generations. The AI nodded. Yes, we are not just preparing for war. We are preparing to rebuild human civilization and make it better than it was before. As the team explored more of the facility, they found evidence of the incredible scope of humanity's preparation. There were training programs for every possible scenario, detailed plans for the reconstruction of Earth, and even genetic samples that could be used to restore extinct species. These most impressive discovery was in the weapons testing area, where they found records of successful tests against captured devourer technology. The humans had not just been hiding, they had been actively hunting small devourer groups and studying their capabilities. Janae was examining the tactical data when she realized something terrifying. Captain, if these records are accurate, human weapons are more powerful than anything the current galaxy possesses. They could destroy our entire civilization if they wanted to. The hologram of Admiral Sungmin appeared one final time with a message that would haunt Junho for the rest of his life. We do not want to be your enemies, he said, but we will not let the devourers consume another world. The choice is yours. Stand with us, and we will protect you. Fight against us, and we will consider you just another obstacle to overcome. The AI began powering down the displays as the presentation ended. You must return to your people, now it said, and tell them what you have learned. The awakening has begun, and soon the galaxy will know that humanity never truly died. As they prepared to leave the facility, Junho realized that they were not just carrying information back to their ship, they were carrying the news that would change the galaxy forever. The humans were coming back, and they were bringing weapons that could either save everyone or destroy everything. The signal that had been broadcasting, "Run for 100,000 years," was not just a warning about the devourers. It was a warning about what humanity had become while they waited for their chance at revenge. Captain Junho stood in the command center of Last Hope Station, staring at displays that showed the true scope of humanity's hidden war machine. The AI had given them access to the facility's deepest secrets, and what they found was beyond anything they had imagined. The humans had not just survived the devourer invasion, they had turned it into the foundation for the greatest military buildup in galactic history. Engineer Dongmin was working at a terminal that controlled the station's manufacturing systems. "Captain," he said, his voice filled with awe, "these production logs show that this facility alone has built enough ships to conquer half the galaxy. And this is just one of 47 stations." The numbers were staggering. Over the past 100,000 years, the human facilities had produced millions of automated warships, weapons platforms that could destroy entire star systems, and defensive installations that could protect whole sectors of space. All of it was controlled by artificial intelligences that shared the memories of humanity's greatest military minds. The AI began showing them the locations of the hidden fleets throughout the galaxy. Each group of ships was positioned near major trade routes and population centers, but they were completely invisible to normal sensors. The humans had developed stealth technology that was thousands of years ahead of anything the current civilizations possessed. Aryan Wu was studying the command structure when she made a disturbing discovery. "These AI systems are not just following orders," she said. "They are actively making decisions and adapting their strategies based on current galactic conditions." The AI confirmed her observation. "We have been watching the galaxy for 100,000 years," it said, "learning about each species, studying their strengths and weaknesses, and preparing for every possible scenario. We know more about your civilizations than you know about yourself." Junho felt a chill as he realized the implications. The humans had been secretly observing every major galactic power for millennia. They knew about every military installation, every political alliance, and every weakness that could be exploited. "Show us the extent of your surveillance network," he said. The AI displayed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy that was covered with tiny lights, representing human observation posts, spy satellites, and hidden monitoring stations. There were thousands of them scattered throughout known space. "We have been preparing for more than just the return of the devourers," the AI explained. "We have been preparing for the possibility that the current galactic civilizations might try to stop us from completing our mission." Security Chief Sujin stepped forward. What exactly is your mission? The AI paused for a moment before answering. To eliminate the Devourer threat permanently and to ensure that humanity can never be destroyed again. The team was shown records of human expeditions that had been secretly tracking Devourer movements for thousands of years. Small groups of human ships had been following the alien swarms as they moved through the void between galaxies, mapping their hibernation sites and studying their life cycles. The humans had discovered that the Devourers were not just mindless destroyers. They were part of a galactic ecosystem that had been consuming worlds for millions of years. They would arrive at a galaxy, strip it of all life, and then move on to the next one, leaving behind empty space that would eventually be repopulated by new species. But the humans had found a way to break this cycle. They had developed weapons that could destroy the Devourers completely, preventing them from ever reproducing or spreading to other galaxies. Pilot Wu Jin was examining the tactical data when he made a shocking discovery. Captain, according to these records, the humans have already tested their weapons against small Devourer groups. The results were complete annihilation. The AI showed them footage of the weapons tests, and the team watched in horror as human ships fired beams of energy that literally unmade their targets. The Devourers simply ceased to exist at the molecular level, leaving nothing behind but empty space. The technology was based on principles that the galaxy had never seen before. The humans had learned to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself, turning matter into energy and energy into nothing. They had become beings of such power that they could rewrite the laws of physics. Communications Officer Hana had been monitoring transmissions from the hidden human colonies when she detected something that made her hands shake. Captain, I am receiving signals from human settlements throughout the galaxy. They are all activating simultaneously. The AI confirmed what Hana had discovered. The awakening protocol has begun, it said. All human facilities are now coming online and preparing for the final phase of our mission. On the displays around them, they could see human bases throughout the galaxy powering up their weapons and launching their hidden fleets. The stealth fields were being dropped, and for the first time in 100,000 years, humanity was revealing its true strength to the galaxy. The scale of the operation was breathtaking. Millions of ships were emerging from hidden bases in asteroid fields, gas giant clouds, and the dark spaces between stars. Each ship was controlled by an AI that had been planning this moment for millennia. Jin'e was studying the fleet compositions when she realized something terrifying. These are not just warships, she said. Many of them are designed for planetary bombardment and system-wide destruction. The AI explained that the humans had prepared for every possible scenario, including the possibility that other species might try to interfere with their war against the Devourers. The fleet included ships designed to destroy entire civilizations if necessary. We do not want to harm innocent species, the AI said, but we will not allow anyone to prevent us from completing our mission. The Devourers must be eliminated and humanity must be restored to its rightful place in the galaxy. Dong Min was examining the weapon specifications when he made a discovery that changed everything. Captain, these weapons are not just designed to fight the Devourers, they are designed to fight anyone who might oppose humanity. The truth was becoming clear. The humans had not just been preparing to defend themselves, they had been preparing to become the dominant species in the galaxy. Their technology was so advanced that no current civilization could stand against them. The AI showed them projections of what would happen when the Devourers awakened. The aliens would emerge from hibernation and begin consuming worlds, but they would find humanity waiting for them with weapons that could destroy them completely. But the projections also showed what would happen if the current galactic civilizations tried to stop the humans. The result would be the complete conquest of known space within a matter of years. We are offering the galaxy a choice, the AI said. Stand with us and we will protect you from the Devourers and share our technology to help you advance. Fight against us, and we will consider you enemies to be eliminated. Junho looked at his team and saw the same fear in their eyes that he felt in his heart. They had discovered that humanity was not just returning to the galaxy, they were returning as conquerors with the power to destroy or save every living thing in known space. The humans had spent 100,000 years becoming something more than they had been. before they had transcended the limitations of biology and technology to become beings of pure purpose driven by an unbreakable desire for revenge against those who had destroyed their world. The question was no longer whether humanity would return. The question was whether the galaxy would survive their return. The AI began shutting down the displays as their tour of the facility came to an end. "You must return to your people now," it said, "and tell them what you have learned. The time for hiding is over, and the time for decision has come." As they prepared to leave Last Hope Station, Junho realized that they were not just carrying information back to their civilization. They were carrying an ultimatum from a species that had become gods of war. The humans were coming back, and they were bringing the power to reshape the galaxy according to their will. Dr. Yuanwu discovers that the Devourers aren't extinct. They're in hibernation, waiting in the void between galaxies for their next feeding cycle to begin. The human AI network has been tracking them for thousands of years, preparing for their eventual return. According to the station's calculations, the Devourers will awaken within the next decade and begin consuming worlds again. Communications Officer Hannah receives a direct transmission from the hidden human colonies. They've been monitoring the situation and are prepared to reveal themselves to help fight the coming invasion. But they need the galaxy's current civilizations to make a choice. Will they accept humanity's return and fight together, or will they try to stop the humans from using their devastating weapons? Captain Junho faces an impossible decision. The human weapons could save the galaxy from the Devourer threat, but they're so powerful they could also destroy every world in known space. The AI offers to demonstrate their capabilities by showing the crew exactly what happened to a Devourer scout fleet that wandered too close to human space 50,000 years ago. The wreckage still drifts in the void, completely atomized by weapons that fire concentrated stars. The Silent Wing raced through space toward the Galactic Council headquarters while Captain Junho and his crew prepared the most important message in galactic history. Behind them, Last Hope Station continued broadcasting its ancient warning, but now the word run had taken on a completely different meaning. The humans were not telling people to run from the station, they were telling them to run from what was coming. The journey back to civilization took 3 days, and during that time the galaxy began to change. Human fleets emerged from hiding places throughout known space, revealing themselves to species that had never known they existed. The reaction was immediate and terrifying. Some civilizations surrendered immediately, while others began mobilizing for war. Communications Officer Hana monitored the galactic communication networks as panic spread from system to system. The humans were not hiding anymore, and their demands were simple: join us or face the Devourers alone, Captain. I am receiving reports of human ships appearing in every major star system, she said. They are not attacking, but they are making their presence known. Security Chief Su Jin was studying the tactical reports when she realized the scope of the human operation. Over 10 million ships had revealed themselves in the past 3 days, and intelligence reports suggested that this was only a small fraction of the total human fleet. The humans had spent 100,000 years preparing for this moment, and they were not going to let anything stop them from completing their mission. When the Silent Wing arrived at the Galactic Council headquarters, the station was in chaos. Representatives from hundreds of species were demanding answers about the human ships that had appeared in their territories. Some were calling for immediate military action, while others were already negotiating surrender terms. Junho and his team were escorted directly to the main council chamber where the emergency session was already in progress. The chamber was filled with angry voices and frightened delegates who had no idea what they were facing. The council leader called for order as Junho approached the speaking platform. Captain, what did you find in the Earth system? Junho looked out at the assembled delegates and realized that what he was about to tell them would change everything. We found humanity, he said, and they are not dead. They have been preparing for 100,000 years, and they are coming back. The chamber erupted in voices as delegates demanded explanations. Junho waited for quiet before continuing. The humans knew the Devourers were coming. Before the invasion happened, they evacuated millions of people to hidden colonies and built secret facilities to prepare for war. Dr. Yuanwu stepped forward to present the evidence. They have been watching us for 100,000 years. she said, studying our civilizations and preparing for this moment. They know everything about us, and they have technology that is thousands of years ahead of anything we possess. The council leader looked skeptical. How do we know this is not some kind of deception? Pilot Wu Jin activated the holographic display showing the data they had collected from Last Hope Station. The human fleets that have appeared throughout the galaxy are proof, he said. They have been hiding in our space for millennia, and we never even knew they were. The implications were staggering. The humans had the technology to remain completely invisible to galactic sensors, which meant they could have been anywhere doing anything without being detected. Engineer Dongmin presented the technical data about human weapons and manufacturing capabilities. Their technology is beyond anything we have ever seen, he said. They can destroy entire star systems with single shots, and they have been building weapons for 100,000 years. The chamber fell silent as the delegates realized what they were facing. The humans were not just returning to the galaxy, they were returning as the most powerful force in galactic history. But the most terrifying revelation was yet to come. Security Chief Su Jin stepped forward to deliver the final part of their message. The Devourers are not extinct, she said. They are sleeping in the void between galaxies, and they will wake up within the next few years. The chamber erupted in panic as delegates shouted questions and demands. The Devourers were the stuff of ancient history, a nightmare that had been defeated long ago. The idea that they might return was almost too horrible to contemplate. Junho called for order before continuing. The humans are offering to protect us from the Devourers, but they want complete control over all galactic military forces. Any species that refuses their protection will be left to face the Devourers alone. The choice was clear but impossible: accept human domination or face extinction at the hands of the Devourers. The council leader stood to address the chamber. What proof do we have that the Devourers are really returning? Communications Officer Hannah activated the long-range sensor data that showed energy signatures from the galactic rim. The Devourers are beginning to wake up, she said. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected movement in areas that have been empty for 100,000 years. The evidence was overwhelming. The humans were telling the truth about everything, in the galaxy had only a few years to prepare for the return of its greatest nightmare. Over the next several hours, the delegates debated their options, but the reality was that they had no real choice. The humans had technology that could either save them or destroy them, and the Devourers were already beginning to stir. Some delegates argued for immediate surrender, while others called for a united military response against the human threat. But the tactical analysis made it clear that any war against humanity would be hopeless. The humans had more ships, better weapons, and superior technology. They had been preparing for this moment for 100,000 years, while the current galactic civilizations had been living in peace. Janae presented the final piece of evidence that ended all debate. The humans are not asking for our cooperation, she said. They are informing us of their decision. The galaxy will be unified under human leadership, whether we agree or not. The chamber fell silent as the truth sank in. The humans were not offering a choice, they were delivering an ultimatum. The council leader called for a vote, but before the delegates could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Hannah checked her communications equipment and her face went pale. Captain, I am receiving emergency signals from monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. The main display showed a map of known space with red warning lights appearing at dozens of locations along the galactic rim. The Devourers are awakening faster than expected, she said. Multiple swarms are beginning to move toward inhabited systems. The debate was over. The galaxy faced extinction from the returning Devourers, and only the humans had the power to stop them. Junho looked out at the assembled delegates and delivered the final message from humanity. We are the children of Earth, he said, repeating the words that were now being broadcast on every frequency throughout the galaxy. We have waited 100,000 years for this moment. The Devourers destroyed our world, but they could not destroy our spirit or our determination. The main display changed to show human fleets moving throughout the galaxy, taking positions around major population centers and industrial worlds. The ships moved with perfect coordination, guided by artificial intelligences that had been planning these movements for millennia. The humans are not asking for permission anymore, Junho continued. They are taking control of galactic defense. Whether we cooperate or not, every species has a choice: stand with humanity or be left to face the devourers alone. Su Jin stepped forward to add the military perspective. The human fleets are already in position around our most important worlds, she said. If we refuse to cooperate, they can simply watch while the devourers consume us. The council chamber erupted in angry voices as delegates realized they were being given an ultimatum. Some called it conquest, while others argued it was salvation, but the result was the same: humanity was taking control of the galaxy. Dr. Yan Wu presented the final piece of evidence that silenced all opposition. The humans have shown us recordings of what happens when the devourers feed. She said entire civilizations are consumed in hours with no survivors and no hope of escape. The holographic display showed footage that the humans had secretly recorded during previous devourer attacks in distant galaxies. The images were horrifying beyond description: worlds stripped of all life in minutes and entire star systems left as empty voids. This is what awaits us if we refuse human protection, Yan Wu said. The devourers do not negotiate, they do not show mercy, and they do not leave survivors. The debate was over. The evidence was overwhelming, and the choice was clear: accept human leadership or face certain extinction. Council leader called for an emergency vote, but before the delegates could respond, the chamber was filled with a new voice. It was the artificial intelligence from Last Hope Station, speaking through the communication system's. Greetings to the Galactic Council, the AI said. I'm speaking on behalf of the Human Defense Network to inform you that the time for debate has ended. The main display showed human ships taking control of communication networks, military installations, and government facilities throughout the galaxy. The takeover was swift, efficient, and completely unopposed. We are not conquerors, the AI continued. We are protectors. The devourer threat requires immediate action, and we cannot wait for political processes to reach decisions. Dongmin monitored the technical systems as hum